Welcome to Al Siraj Online Academy.
Today we're cutting straight to something really fundamental, actually. We're diving into these unassuming but super powerful WH family words in English. They're not just, grammar points. They're basically your main tools for picking apart any topic, for finding out exactly what you need to know about, well, people, things, places, time, reasons, how things are done.
Yeah, a whole lot.
Think of this deep dive as like a shortcut to sharpening how you think critically, how you become genuinely well-informed. And here's something fascinating right off the bat. Okay, so most of these key question words, they start with whew, right? Who, what, where.
Right, that's the pattern.
But there's one really important exception that kind of quietly does just as much work. We'll definitely be keeping an eye out for how.
Yeah, that's a good point. And what's really interesting here is how these words, they seem so simple, but they actually form the very backbone of asking good questions.
The backbone, yeah.
They don't just ask any old question. They guide your curiosity. They let you shape your questions to pull out really precise, specific information. Getting the hang of their little differences is honestly key to unlocking pretty much any area of knowledge. Helps you cut through the noise to the actual signal.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. So when we're trying to figure out, the person behind something, the word we grab is who. Simple enough.
Seems simple, but there's more to it. Who is really about agency and identity.
Agency.
Yes, how we figure out who gets the credit or sometimes who carries the responsibility. Like you read an article asking who wrote this. Isn't just a name. It helps you think about the source's angle, their expertise, maybe bias.
It's context behind the person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or say a project hits a snag. Asking who was handling that part helps, figure out accountability.
Yeah.
It's all about connecting actions back to the people or entities doing them.
Okay, so once we know who, the next logical step often feels like figuring out what they did or what something is. What feels, well, it feels huge, really broad.
It is broad, that's true. What is your kind of go-to word for figuring out the scope or the essence of something? It identifies things, sure, but also concepts, actions.
So like, what happened?
Yeah, or if you're tackling some complex new policy, asking what is its main goal gets you to the core idea. Or maybe, what are the consequences of this? That pushes you to explore the effects, the ripple effects.
Okay.
It's how we sort of articulate the nature of something, moving beyond just naming it to understanding its characteristics or its purpose.
Right. So we've got who and what, but, context is everything. And that feels like where and when step in. They give us those anchors in space and time. Let's start with where.
Yeah, where definitely grounds things geographically or spatially. But it's interesting, it can also mean a sort of metaphorical place. Well, beyond the obvious, where do you live? Think about asking something like, where does this argument kind of fall apart? You're looking for a weak spot, a flaw in the logic.
Okay, a conceptual location.
Exactly. Or maybe in a negotiation, where do we actually stand on this point right now? It's about locating a position, whether that's physical or, conceptual.
Makes sense. And tied right into that is when. Adding that time dimension, that seems critical for, cause and effect.
Oh, absolutely critical. When zeroes in on timing, on the sequence of events, or sometimes the bigger historical picture.
Like, when did this whole trend start?
Precisely.
Yeah.
That helps you trace origins. Or for planning, when is the best time to launch this? That's about strategic timing. It really helps establish causality by putting events in order, or just, helps you schedule things effectively.
No, okay. If we really want to get, under the surface, beyond just the facts, we turn to why. This one feels like it's at the absolute heart of any proper deep dive.
It really is, isn't it? Why pushes us past just observing things into understanding the reasons, causality, motivation, the stuff underneath.
The root cause.
Exactly. It's the word that helps us find that root cause, whether you're asking, why did the stock market dip? Or maybe something more personal, like, why does this pattern keep happening?
But there's a catch with why sometimes.
There can be, yeah. You have to be careful. Why can sometimes sound, a bit accusatory. If you just ask someone, why did you do that? It can make them defensive.
Right. Puts them on the spot.
Exactly. So sometimes a better approach, a more empathetic one, might be to rephrase. Ask something like, What was your thinking behind that choice? Or could you maybe walk me through your process there?
Ah, subtle shift.
Yeah, and encourages explanation, rather than just justification or defensiveness. It's a good tip some sources highlight.
That's a really useful point about why. Okay, so moving from understanding reasons
Mhm.
to understanding how things are done or the condition of things. That brings us to our unique outlier, how, the one without the
Right, how.
yeah,
But it's absolutely part of the family in terms of function, and it's incredibly versatile.
versatile how.
Well, it often asks for an explanation of a process, or the manner something's done, or its condition, or even its quality.
Okay, so lots of different angles.
Yeah, like
Uh,
how does this new gadget work? That unpacks the mechanics. Or how can we boost efficiency? That's asking for problem solving, for strategy.
mm-hmm.
You get into the mechanics, the methodology, the steps involved, or sometimes just the state of things, like how are you feeling? It's about understanding the way things operate or exist.
Okay, so if what helps us define things and why gets at causes, then which? Which seems to be about making a choice from a set list. People mix this up with what sometimes, don't they?
They do, yeah, that's a really common confusion. The key difference is that which is used when you've got a defined, usually kind of limited set of options.
Like, which flavor do you want, chocolate or vanilla?
Exactly. The choices are right there, clear. What, on the other hand, is for when the options are wide open or undefined. Like, what flavor ice cream do you like? Could be anything.
Ah, okay. Unlimited options versus limited.
Right. So which helps you narrow things down, refine the question, and get more specific information back.
Got it. And building on that idea, getting specific, whose helps us nail down ownership, right? Or where something came from?
Precisely. Whose asks directly about possession or attribution. Whose phone is this? Simple
Mhm.
possession. But also, whose data are we using? That's crucial for things like intellectual property or privacy.
Or whose idea was this?
Exactly. It attributes the idea, the innovation. It ties an object or an idea or even, a responsibility directly back to whoever owns it or originated it.
Okay. And that brings us, finally, to whom. This one. It often feels a bit stuffy, maybe, a bit more formal, like a grammar quiz question for a lot of people.
It does feel that way, and maybe for good reason historically.
Yeah.
Whom is technically used in, let's say, more formal English when you're asking about the object of a verb or a preposition.
The object.
Okay.
Okay. Explain that a bit more.
Think of it like this. Who is like he or she, the subject doing the action, and whom is like him or her, the object receiving the action. So while pretty much everyone nowadays says, who did you meet? Technically, since you is the subject doing the meeting and the person met is the object, it should be whom did you meet?
Ah, okay, I see.
Or another classic is to whom are you speaking? Because whom is the object of that preposition to?
Honestly, understanding whom helps you kind of appreciate the nuances between subjects and objects, especially in formal writing or speech, even if its everyday use is definitely fading.
Right, it's becoming less common in just casual chat.
Very much so. Okay, and here's a really practical tip that the sources bring up for anyone wanting to really get these down. These words, they almost always show up right at the start of a question. Yeah. They signal immediately that you're asking for specific info.
That's a super powerful clue in the structure. The typical pattern, the formula for these direct questions, is usually pretty consistent. You get the WH word first,
Right?
then usually a helping verb like do, does, is, are, did, then the subject, and then the main verb.
Can you give an example?
Sure, like where are you going? See, where WH or are, helping verb, you, subject, going main verb. Or why did she leave? Like WH did helping verb, she, subject, leave, main verb.
Okay, WH word plus helping verb plus subject plus main verb.
It's a pretty reliable blueprint, yeah. It helps you build clear questions and, get straight to the point of what you're curious about.
So what does this all really boil down to? We've just taken a pretty deep dive into these 9 incredibly useful WH family words: who, what, where, when, why, which, who's whom, and of course, our friend how.
The whole crew.
We've seen how they usually kick off a question, often followed by that helping verb, acting like your personal guide to getting specific information. Really mastering these words, it's not just about sounding grammatically correct. It's about empowering yourself to get knowledge quickly, thoroughly.
Yeah, to really break things down.
Exactly. To dissect complex stuff and to actually understand the world around you better, which, is really the whole point of this deep dive.
And maybe this raises an interesting final thought for you listening. As you go about your day, as you encounter information, maybe questions people ask, or headlines you read, start noticing how the specific WH word used actually guides your attention.
Interesting point.
How does it shape the kind of knowledge you end up getting, or the kind you start looking for? Just pay attention to that subtle power each word has, how it directs your curiosity, and, well, ultimately shapes your understanding.